My name's Emily, and if you told me a year ago that my life would take a turn at a dentist's office, I'd have laughed. But here we are. Let me set the scene. It's a typical Tuesday, and I'm juggling work emails with one hand and trying to coax my 5-year-old, Lily, into bravery with the other. Dentist appointments are the bane of her existence, and frankly, mine too, considering the drama they entail. Lily's clutching onto my leg like it's the last lifeboat on the Titanic, her eyes wide as saucers. I don't want to go, Mommy. The dentist is scary. Lily, sweetie, we talked about this. Dr. Harris is nice. No monsters in there, I promise, I say, trying to sound reassuring, but the truth is, I'd rather face a boardroom of execs than the dental chair myself. That's when he walked in. Jake. Though, of course, I didn't know his name then. He looked like he just stepped out of a GQ magazine, casual, but somehow still sharp. I noticed him giving us a curious glance before he disappeared behind the receptionist's desk. Moments later, as I'm still negotiating with Lily, he reappears, squats down to Lily's level, and starts making these goofy faces. Lily, predictably, starts giggling, forgetting her fears for a moment. See, little lady, there's nothing to be afraid of. I've been coming here since I was your age. The worst part? The chair makes you feel like an astronaut. Pretty cool, right? Lily nods, now more intrigued than terrified. Are you an astronaut? She asks, eyes wide with wonder. Nah, I'm more of a spaceship engineer. He winks at her, then looks up at me. Name's Jake. Seems like we're in for the same adventure today. I smile, relieved and grateful. I'm Emily, and this brave explorer is Lily. Thanks for the assist, Jake. I was about to run out of negotiation tactics. He laughs, a sound that's easy and genuine. No worries. I have a niece about her age. Learned all my tricks from her. The rest of the visit somehow goes smoothly. Lily, now slightly enamored with the idea of being an astronaut, marches into the dentist's office with a bit less trepidation. I'm left in the waiting room, thoughts drifting to the unexpected helper who just made my day significantly easier. After the appointment, as I'm strapping Lily into her car seat, Jake walks out to the parking lot. Hey, Emily, right? Look, this might be forward, but I was wondering if you'd like to grab coffee sometime. I'm taken aback, not just by the offer, but by the fact that I find myself considering it. It's been ages since I've even thought about dating. Between work and Lily, my plate's more than full. But something about Jake's straightforwardness, the ease of our brief interaction, prompts me to say, yeah, I'd like that. Coffee sounds great. He grins, and it's like the sun breaking through clouds. Fantastic. Let me give you my number. How about Saturday? As we exchange numbers, I can't help but think how life throws you curveballs. Here I was, dreading a dentist appointment, and now I'm making plans for coffee with a guy who could charm the fear out of a kid facing her nemesis. The day of the coffee meet, I find myself more nervous than I care to admit. It's just coffee, I keep telling myself. But it feels like a lot more than that. It feels like the beginning of something new, and I'm not entirely sure I'm ready for it. After that unexpected coffee date with Jake, things just kind of snowballed. It wasn't just the kind of romance you read about in cheesy novels or see in rom-coms. It was real, it was messy, and it was absolutely perfect in its own chaotic way. Jake and I started seeing each other more frequently. Between my web design gigs and his job at an engineering firm, we somehow managed to carve out time for each other. And Lily? She was over the moon with Jake around. He had this way of making her laugh, teaching her silly jokes and riddles, turning every hangout into an adventure. One evening, we were all at my place for dinner. I had attempted to make lasagna, which ended up more like a cheesy soup, but we were having a blast anyway. Jake, with a mock-serious tone, looked at me across the table. Emily, I think we need to discuss your lasagna's structural integrity. I shot back, rolling my eyes. Oh, please, Mr. Engineer. If you're so concerned about structures, maybe you should have built us a lasagna. Lily giggled between bites, enjoying the banter. Jake, can you build a lasagna house? He winked at her. Only if you promise to be the chief taste tester. It was moments like these that stitched our little patchwork family closer together. Jake wasn't just a boyfriend or a casual fling. He was becoming a part of our lives, a steadying presence that felt like it had always belonged. One night, after Lily had gone to bed and we were cleaning up the kitchen, Jake turned to me, his expression more serious than usual. Emily, I need to tell you something. I know this isn't just fun and games for me. I'm in this for the long haul, you and Lily both. His words hit me hard. Part of me had been waiting for the other shoe to drop, for him to realize that a package deal with a single mom and her kid was more than he'd bargained for. But here he was, laying his cards on the table, not just willing but eager to build something lasting with us. I leaned against the counter, feeling a mixture of relief and a terrifying thrill at the prospect of letting someone in again. Jake, I won't lie. This scares the hell out of me. After everything with Lily's dad. I just want to make sure we're doing this right. Not just for us, but for her too. He stepped closer, taking my hands in his. I know. And I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers. But I care about you, Emily. Both of you. I'm not going anywhere. That conversation was a turning point for us. It wasn't just about dating anymore. We were building a life together, piece by piece. And with Jake, I found myself daring to dream about a future I had never thought possible. Meeting Jake's parents was a landmark I approached with a mix of anticipation and dread. Jake had been this incredible source of joy and stability for Lily and me, but the idea of fitting into his world, especially with the weight of his family's expectations, was daunting. Jake had tried to prep me, saying his folks were a bit old-fashioned but warm once you got to know them. Still, nothing could have prepared me for the actual encounter. We pulled up to this mansion that looked more like it belonged in a historical drama than real life. My stomach was in knots, and even Jake seemed tense, his usual easygoing demeanor replaced with quiet apprehension. As we walked up to the door, Jake squeezed my hand. Just be yourself, Em. They'll love you. The door swung open to reveal a woman in her 60s, elegant in a way that made my thrift store chic feel downright shabby. She was all smiles, though, as she ushered us into their home. Jake, darling. And you must be Emily. We've heard so much about you. She cooed, her voice dripping with a sort of politeness that felt rehearsed. Jake's dad was a stern-looking guy, with a handshake that felt like it was evaluating my worth. The small talk was painfully stiff, with questions about my job and upbringing feeling more like an interrogation than getting to know you chatter. Dinner was a spread that could have fed an army, with conversation that was equally overwhelming. Jake's mom, Diane, was particularly interested in my background. So, Emily, Jake tells us you're a web designer? That's interesting. And you're raising Lily on your own? How commendable. Her tone made it clear that interesting was placeholders for odd and unfortunate. I was trying to keep my cool, focusing on my plate more than anything. But then came the bombshell. When the topic of Lily came up, Diane's facade slipped entirely. A child already, and from a previous situation. Jake, darling, we need to think about the lineage, don't we? Jake choked on his drink, coughing as he tried to regain composure. Mom, what the hell? That's way out of line. I was shell-shocked, my fork suspended in midair. Lineage? I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were living in medieval times. Diane's lips pursed into a thin line, her eyes cold. I only mean that Jake has responsibilities, a legacy to uphold. It's not personal, dear. You must understand, bringing in someone else's child, it's complicated. Jake's dad, silent until now, finally chimed in with a gruff, Diane, perhaps you've said enough. But the damage was done. I couldn't sit there, being dissected and judged for things beyond my control. My past wasn't up for debate. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. I think it's best if we leave. Jake was right behind me, murmuring apologies as we made our exit. The car ride home was silent for a while until Jake broke it, his voice tight with anger. "I'm so sorry, Em. I had no idea she'd go off like that. My mom can be traditional, but this was too much." I was staring out the window, trying to process the evening. "Jake, it's not about being traditional. It's about respect. I get that your family has expectations, but I won't let myself or Lily be treated like second-class citizens." Jake reached over, taking my hand. "I know, and I'm with you on this. They crossed a line tonight. I love you, Em. And Lily. That's my family. Whatever it takes, we'll get through this." His words were a small comfort, but the sting of rejection was sharp. I had faced judgment before, as a single mom, as someone who didn't follow the traditional path, but this felt different. It was one thing to defend myself against the world, quite another to have to do it against what could have been my future family. After the dinner fiasco with Jake's parents, things got a bit rocky. Jake and I had more than a few discussions, debates really, about what this all meant for us. But at the core, our commitment to each other and to building a life together didn't waver. We were in this together, come what may. Jake started spending more time at our place, practically moving in bit by bit, though he never officially said so. It was in the little things, a drawer filled with his clothes, a toothbrush next to mine, his favorite coffee blend in the pantry. Lily was thrilled. To her, Jake moving in was the best thing since sliced bread. One lazy Saturday morning, we were all in the kitchen, Jake attempting pancakes, Lily on stir duty, and me, well, I was the designated taste tester. "Mommy, look. Jake's making the pancakes blue," Lily announced, her eyes wide with excitement as she watched the batter turn a vibrant shade. Jake shot me a grin over Lily's head. "Blue pancakes, because why not? Gotta keep life interesting." I laughed, leaning against the counter. "Interesting is one word for it. How about unconventional? Or bizarre?" "Hey, bizarre is just interesting with a twist," Jake retorted, flipping a pancake with a flourish. "Besides, Lily's the boss of pancake colors." "Right, kiddo?" Lily nodded vigorously, her face serious. "Yep, and next we're making green ones." Our mornings turned into these pockets of domestic bliss, filled with laughter and the scent of maple syrup. It was during one of these mornings that Jake brought up the idea of him moving in officially. I've been thinking," Jake started, his tone a bit more serious as he sat at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of coffee. "This back and forth between our places, it's silly. I'm here all the time anyway. What do you say we make it official?" I paused, the mug halfway to my lips. It was a big step, one I hadn't anticipated taking so soon, if at all. "Jake, are you sure? I mean, after everything with your parents." He reached across the table, covering my hand with his. My parents, that's on them. This is about us, about what we want. And I want this, I want to be here, with you and Lily. Full time. If you'll have me." Looking into his eyes, I saw the sincerity, the love. It was a leap of faith, but wasn't that what love was all about? "Yes, Jake, I'll have you. We'll have you." Lily, overhearing part of our conversation, chimed in. "Does this mean Jake is gonna be here every morning for pancakes?" Jake laughed, scooping her up into his arms. "Every morning, pancakes with the boss. That's a promise." And just like that, we began a new chapter. It wasn't just me and Lily anymore, it was us, our little family. We faced challenges, of course. Integrating our lives, our routines, it took patience and a lot of communication. But every step, every compromise, brought us closer. Jake being there meant more than just an extra pair of hands or a partner in pancake making. It was having someone to share the burdens, the joys, and everything in between. It was Lily's laughter echoing through the house more frequently, it was the warmth of a hug after a long day, it was the feeling of completeness. We had our moments of doubt, of wondering if we were moving too fast, if this was the right thing. But at the end of each day, as we sat together, a mismatched but perfect family, all those doubts faded away. We were building something beautiful, something strong. Life was almost too good to be true. Jake and I were in this bubble of happiness, especially after finding out about the baby. He was over the moon about it, said he'd always dreamed of having a kid with me. We were planning our wedding, and I was juggling a whirlwind of emotions, mostly excitement and a bit of anxiety about our growing family. Then, one day, Jake tells me he's got to dash off for some urgent family stuff in another city. Said he might be out of touch, but would ring me as soon as he could. I was a bit uneasy, but I wished him luck and told him to come back to us soon. Not long after, I get this call. It's Diane, Jake's mom, and the ice in her voice could freeze fire. She tells me, just like that, Jake's gone. Plane crash. And then she has the nerve to tell me to never call them again. Like we're some sort of inconvenience she can just brush off. My world stopped. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I scrambled through news feeds, searching for any scrap of information, but there was nothing. Not a word about any crash. Desperate for some answers, any answers, I decided to hunt down Jake's dad. I knew he sometimes hung around the dental clinic they owned, so I went there, heart pounding and mind racing. The place was busy, and I caught word that he was tied up with some big reception. I left a message with the receptionist, practically begged her to make sure he got it, and then I bolted to Jake's parents' house. I must have rung that doorbell 100 times, but no answer. It was like the world had decided to erase Jake, and I was the only one who remembered he existed. I slumped back to my car, parked outside their gate, feeling more alone than I ever had. Sat there, staring off into nothing, lost. What do you do when your whole future, the love of your life, is ripped away with a phone call? And from her, of all people. Diane never did warm up to me or the idea of us, but to lie about something like this? It was cruel, unimaginable. I didn't know where to turn. The police? Would they even take me seriously? My mind was a whirlwind of panic and despair. And underneath it all, a burning anger. If Jake was out there, somehow, I had to find him. For me, for our baby, for the life we'd dreamed of together. I decided to head back to the clinic, thinking maybe, just maybe, I'd missed something, some clue that could tell me where Jake was or if he was really. But my head was everywhere. Tears blurred my vision as I drove, mixing with the rain pelting the windshield. Everything was a haze. I kept wiping my eyes, trying to focus on the road, but all I could see was Jake's face, hear his voice, feel his absence like a physical ache. That's when it happened. The light turned red, but I didn't see it. Didn't see much of anything until it was too late. The screech of brakes, the sickening crunch of metal, and then darkness. Waking up in the hospital was like emerging from a nightmare into another. My body hurt everywhere, but it was nothing compared to the panic clawing at my insides. My mom was there, holding my hand, her face a mask of worry and relief. "Mom," I croaked, my throat dry and my voice barely a whisper. "Jake, what happened to Jake?" "Shoo, baby, you're okay, you're alive. That's what matters. And the baby's okay, too," she said, trying to smile, but I could see the tears in her eyes. I tried to process her words. Alive. The baby was okay. But Jake. Jake, Mom. Where's Jake? I need. She brushed my hair back from my forehead, a soothing gesture from my childhood. "Honey, we don't know yet. I've been calling, but his phone's off." Hearing that, a wave of despair washed over me, pulling me under. I couldn't lose Jake. Not now, not after everything we'd dreamed of, everything we'd planned. Our family. I must have passed out again because the next thing I remember was the beep of machines and a different kind of pain, sharper, more insistent. Nurses bustled around, checking IVs, murmuring to each other. Mom was still there, holding my hand, but now her face was etched with deeper lines of worry. "Mom," I said again, my voice stronger, but filled with fear. you gotta find him. Please. Jake needs to know. I promise, Emily. I'll do everything I can. We'll find Jake. We'll bring him home to you and the baby, she vowed, a fierce determination in her eyes. As pain and drugs dragged me back into unconsciousness, her promise was the lifeline I clung to. Jake had to come back to us. He just had to. Waking up to see Jake by my side felt like a miracle. I'd been teetering on the edge of despair, the world seeming dark and hopeless. But there he was, the love of my life, alive and right in front of me. I couldn't help the tears that started streaming down my face, each one a mix of relief, joy, and a touch of residual fear. Jake held my hand, his eyes filled with a storm of emotions. "Hey, Em," he said, his voice cracking a bit. "I'm so sorry for all this mess. My mom, she did something unforgivable." I was still trying to wrap my head around everything. "Your mom, she told me you were gone. Why would she do that?" He sighed heavily, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "She found out about the baby and panicked. Thought if you believed I was dead, you'd, I don't know, have gotten rid of the baby." The bitterness of the betrayal stung. To think that someone could go to such lengths to control our lives was unimaginable. But why? How could she think that was okay? Jake shook his head, his expression hardening. "She thought she was protecting me, our family name. But there's no excuse. I came back as soon as I found out what she'd done. And then I heard about the accident. As I got stronger, Jake was my constant, my rock. And when I was finally discharged, we knew we had to confront his parents, to bring everything into the open." Driving to his parents' house, the tension in the car was palpable. Jake gripped the steering wheel tightly, his jaw set. I held onto his other hand, seeking to give him some semblance of comfort. When we arrived, his mother's face was a picture of fear and guilt. Jake didn't waste any time. "Dad, we need to talk. It's about Mom and what she's done." His father, a stern man who always seemed unshakable, listened in disbelief as Jake laid everything out. The lies about his death, the manipulation, the accident that nearly took my life and our child's. His mother sat there, a shadow of herself, as Jake's words washed over her. When Jake finished, the silence was deafening. His father finally spoke, his voice low but filled with a fury I'd never seen from him before. "You did this? You risked our son's happiness, Emily's life, for what? Your pride?" She didn't answer, just sat there, sobbing quietly into her hands. It was clear she had realized the magnitude of her actions, but too late. Jake's dad turned to her, his decision firm. "You need to leave. I can't look at you, knowing what you've done. You tried to destroy our family from the inside. I won't have it." After everything we'd been through, the wedding felt like a breath of fresh air, a start to something new and beautiful. Jake and I decided on a small ceremony. It wasn't about the flash or the numbers, it was about us, our love, and the family we were building. Standing there, exchanging vows with Jake, my heart was so full it felt like it might burst. I was a few months along by then, my belly proudly carrying our future as I wore a simple yet stunning dress that flowed gently over my curves. Jake looked at me with so much love and admiration, it made every past hurt fade away. "I love you more than I can say, Em. You, Lily, and our little guy on the way," he whispered, so only I could hear, his hand briefly touching my belly. "We're a team now, a family." His words were a soothing balm, healing old wounds. And as we turned to face our small gathering of friends and family, I saw only happiness and support reflected back at us. Jake's dad was there, a testament to the bridges we were rebuilding. Except one face was missing, Jake's mom. She had moved away, unable to reconcile with the reality of our love and the family we were creating. Jake had tried, one last time, to bridge the gap, to explain our love and commitment to each other, but it was a bridge too far for her. And so, we moved forward, just the four of us. The day our son was born was one of pure joy. Jake was by my side the entire time, holding my hand, his eyes never leaving mine except to check on our baby's progress. When our son was finally placed in my arms, the emotion in the room was palpable. Jake leaned over, kissing my forehead, then our son's. "Hey there, little man. Welcome to the family." Seeing him hold our son, then watching as Lily cautiously approached, curious and a bit shy, to meet her brother, was a picture I'd carry in my heart forever. Our family felt complete.